Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for what is sure to be an informative evening. Before we begin, I just want to take a minute to introduce us. My name is Marla Erdman.
My name is Courtney Lockhart.
And we offer a few reminders for the evening. We represent the Orland School District 135 Parents for Education. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization that consists entirely of parent volunteers working in conjunction with the schools to provide enhancements to the students' educational experience. We are a nonpartisan group and hold candidate forums to express purpose of helping voters to make informed decisions.
That being said, early voting begins March 17th with Election Day on April 1st. If you have been looking at the calendar, you will notice that Election Day falls on a non-attendance day following our spring break. If you are planning on traveling for spring break, please, please, please make plans to early vote or vote by mail. It is no secret that local elections have very, very low turnouts. These elections will affect your day-to-day life, your property values and taxes, and student performance and engagement far more than our national elections do. Make sure you get out and vote. If you have to do it early, do it early. Now we will turn it over to the OJ National Junior Honor Society students, Natalia, Reese, and Olivia, and they'll give you a little bit more information about the roles and responsibilities of the school board.
Good evening and welcome to the 2025 School Board Candidate Forum brought to you by the Orland School District 135 Parents for Education. We would like to thank you for taking an interest in making our school district the best that it could be for students like us. Before we get started, we'd like to clarify the roles of a school board so you could be better informed of this important role in our community.
School boards act to govern their local school district and academics with state laws and mandates. School boards are responsible for acting on behalf of the citizens and voters, but are legally responsible to the state and should be nonpartisan in policy making. The school board is an unpaid elected position, with terms being 4 years in length. The duties of the school board include approving the curriculum that has been recommended by the superintendent of curriculum, hiring and terminating of personnel and administrators, as well as setting those salaries, maintaining school buildings to code, and improving when needed. The school board is also responsible for paying all bills, accepting or denying contracts and bids, and arranging the finance to pay for these bills and contracts while maintaining financial responsibility to the taxpayers.
Well, our moderator has some standard questions to ask of the candidates. We also welcome you, the public, to submit questions. In order to avoid duplications or questions about situations that are not handled by the school board, please submit the questions to the welcome table to be vetted by the moderators. We look forward to an informative and respectful evening. If you can please join us and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, after which we'll begin our forum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, guys.
Welcome to the candidate, whoa, we're not that short. Welcome to the Candidate Forum for School District 135. The League of Women Voters of the Palos-Orland area is pleased to provide this service for the voters of Orland School District 135. My name is Victoria Saranich. I'm from the League of Women Voters of Palos-Orland, but I live in Lamont. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for any office. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government. The format today is a candidate forum and not a debate. Candidates are expected to accurately represent the facts, and their responses reflect their own views and opinions. We do hope the candidates will speak to their goals and plans and refrain from speaking about another candidate or what another candidate has or has not done. Thank you to District 135 for providing the use of this facility, Parents for Education for their co-sponsorship, the Junior National Honor Society for their assistance, the candidates for their participation, our league volunteers, and you, the voters, for your interest. At this time, I ask that you please turn off your cell phones and other electronic devices. After we welcome the candidates, please refrain from applauding until I ask you to after the end of the forum so that we may get through as many questions as possible. Please join me in welcoming our candidates. Thank you. A recording of this forum will be available on Vimeo.com. Note cards and pencils have been provided on which to submit your questions. Questions will be screened for duplication, clarity, and appropriateness to the office and the issues. Please signal a league volunteer when your question is ready or you need another card. The questions have not been provided to the candidates before the forum. Before we started today, I reviewed the order of speaking and timing with the candidates. Candidates are seated alphabetically, and the start order was chosen by random drawing. We have approximately 90 minutes for this forum. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for their opening and closing statements. Each candidate will have 60 seconds for each question. Candidates, please notice the timers. Okay. When you see the stop sign, please finish your sentence. So let's get started. Candidates, Durkin. Thank you.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead with your opening statement.
Okay. Good evening, and I'm going to let you know really quick, I have a public fear of speaking into a microphone, so my anxiety is on 110 right now. I am a mother of 2 children who are currently in the center school system. I am a wife, a homeowner in the Orland Park area. I am a 19-year-old teacher at a public school in South Holland, Illinois. I know the ins and outs of the school system. I am a math teacher as well as a special education teacher, so I'm duly certified in math and special education. I know the melding of both sides. I've seen the administrative side. I've also seen the teacher side, and I'm also in the perspective of a parent side now that my children are within the school district. I am committed to bringing my experience, my dedication, and passion for education to the Orland Park School District. Thank you. Throughout my career, I've worked with collaboration with teachers, parents, administration to create a positive, inclusive, and effective learning environment. I believe that every child deserves a highly qualified education, and I will work tirelessly to ensure the schools continue to provide the best opportunities for academic success, emotional well-being, and personal growth.
Thank you. Next candidate.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out tonight. Thank you, League of Women Voters, and the PFE for putting this on for us all tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm Daniel Finlayson. I've spent my entire life in public service. Started out as a firefighter paramedic, and the last 13 years as an educator. I have dealt with contracts from the union front. I've done it all, pretty much. Trained educator, trained administrator. My goal is to have accountability on all levels, make sure that we are fiscally responsible with all of your money and my money. I'm also a resident, and making sure that we're transparent and we're getting the message out and we're listening to all of you. Thank you.
Candidate Job.
Job. Excuse me, Elizabeth Job.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here and for our hosts. I'm Elizabeth Job. I'm a lifelong resident of Orland Park, an Orland School District 135 alumna, and mom of 1 current student and 1 graduate of D135. My husband and I chose to raise our family here because we already knew Orland had an excellent school district and we love the community. As a parent, I've demonstrated my dedication to our community as a volunteer in youth sports, Scouts, D135 Parents for Education, and more recently on the D135 School Board. As a resident, I believe a strong school district is one of the most important components of a desirable community. Regardless of whether you have children in the school system or not, property value is directly affected by its district. All Orland residents should want their local school district to excel. I've proven my leadership, organizational, and decision-making abilities as the D135 Board Vice President and an experienced IT project manager. I've successfully worked to address overcrowding and promote facility upgrades and balance across our schools, increase academic rigor, including math and English literacy curriculum updates, restore traditional letter-based grading scale, implement an 8th grade to high school transition program, concentrate on concerns regarding student behavior, renew emphasis on cursive and keyboarding skills, and improve the communication and collaboration between all stakeholders. Looking to the future of D135, I support continuing focus on student growth across all academic levels, quality staff retention, building a positive relationship with the community through transparency and outreach, and responsibly managing taxpayer money through a student-focused budget. Thank you. Vote job for 135.
Thank you. Candidate Oluwalecki.
Thank you. My name is Vince Oluwalecki. I'm running for office D135. I'm an educator, I'm a pharmacist, and I'm a faculty at UIC College of Pharmacy. I've lived in Orland for about 7 years, and I have 3 daughters in D135. They're actually the inspiration of why I'm running for office. I'm an immigrant, you can hear from the accent. This country has been a big blessing to me and my family, and so I want to give back by serving the country, starting from my local community. I am a volunteer pharmacist at the Orland Township. For the last 5 years, I've been a volunteer election judge at the suburban Cook County. If you voted early last year, in November, you would have seen my face. I'm always out there making sure your voting process goes smoothly. What is my mission? My mission here is better outcome for students. I do this day in, day out at the College of Pharmacy to improve our children's test scores, also to support our teachers and staff. I'm a faculty myself, to enhance quality of life for our children because I'm a healthcare professional. So mental health, physical and well-being, and also fiscal responsibility. You're gonna entrust us or entrust me with the tax dollar. We wanna make sure there's good return on investment. I have an MBA as well. So thank you for coming. I'm here to answer your questions. Please ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Zayed.
Hi, my name is Aisha Zayed. I'm a longtime resident of Orland Park. My husband grew up here in Orland Park. His family's been here for over 40 years. We've chosen to raise our kids here in Orland Park as well. We have 4 kids, so a lot of project managing going on at our house. My professional background is in biochemistry. I worked in polymer science for a while and then switched to food science. Most of my work was in food science. I worked with the production of flavoring components, both natural and artificial. Artificial flavoring components, of course, are chemicals, so we do have to be careful how we handle them. So I worked in compliance, FDA, EPA, OSHA, OAI compliance, and first and foremost, I'm a mom. So again, that's a mom of 4 kids. So there's a lot going on there. You're chauffeur, you're the project manager, you're the one making sure that all conflicts are resolved. So, you know, moms get things done. I think that I'm up to the challenge.
Thank you. Candidate Browner.
Hi, my name is Nicole Browner, and I'm an incumbent candidate running for my 2nd term. It has been a privilege to work the last 4 years for the district and the community. We purchased our home here in Orland 16 years ago. My husband is a veteran, and we've been together for 22 years. My goodness. Our son is 18, and he's a senior at Carl Sandburg. He's also a 135 graduate, and he's headed to Illinois State to pursue a degree in artificial intelligence. Our daughter is an 8th grader here at this school. She loves science, and she has a passion for healthcare. So when I first joined the school board, it was a time when our community was navigating the aftermath of the pandemic. While our schools were transitioning back into in-person learning, the community itself was still adjusting to what the expectations were and hoped that there would be a new normal. And this time really made me think about how important it was to advocate for yourself and for others. It was clear that we needed to come together and move forward, and I made it my mission to facilitate transparent and open communication, to form connections and encourage collaboration across the district. Remaining student-focused, we worked closely with administration, staff, and local taxpayers, and we were able to develop a strategic plan that provides a strong foundation for the district's future. I'm proud of the progress we've made, and I'm proud of the district. And I remain deeply committed to the work that we've started and like a chance to continue that momentum. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
Hello, my name is Kelly Chmielewski, and I'm a nurse and licensed nursing home administrator with over 30 years' experience. My youngest daughter attends Durling Junior High, and I have concerns about the district, and that's why I'm here tonight. Data from the Illinois School Report Card indicates that only 11% of our 8th graders are passing Algebra 1. That's an alarming number. 59% of the students are proficient in ELA, another concern. 38% proficient in math, 68% proficient in science. These numbers tell the story of District 135 not providing the education our students deserve and that the taxpayers are paying for, $7K per student per year. I also feel the current school board lacks transparency. Only 60 days or 2 meetings are available for viewing on the district website. Citizens' remarks are also on every agenda, and they're not being recorded. So all those teachers and staff that get up and make comments, the camera is paused, and their statements are gone forever, but the concerns remain. Hiding these comments is deceptive and not acceptable. You can see for yourself the March 10th meeting, timestamp 27 minutes in, February 10th meeting, 25 minutes in. I'm also concerned about the fiscal responsibility. A demographic study was not done as part of the strategic plan. Instead, the current board chose to spend millions of your tax dollars.
Thank you. We will now begin the Q&A. Candidate Finlayson, you have the first question. If elected, what are your top 3 priorities?
My top 3 priorities would be to assure that our goals at our district are aligned to the we have SMART goals established aligned with the 5 Essentials School Report Card, that we have a functioning and fully implemented MTSS or program, including IEP, and that's a transparent process and known by our stakeholders. And also that we are being fiscally responsible and transparent with the funding and our spending. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
I believe that our top 3 goals moving forward should be continuing focus on all student growth across all academic levels. I believe that another goal should be quality staff retention, which means not only retaining but also hiring quality staff, and we want the best teachers in District 135 so we can provide that best educational experience for our students. And then I also believe that we need to work on building a positive relationship with the community through transparency and outreach.
Thank you. Candidate Oluwaleke?
Yes, so my top 3 would be to continue to improve our test scores, and we could do that by addressing our learning gaps. And the second thing would be our fiscal responsibility, just to make sure right now our enrollment is slightly down, but we're spending more on those. And the third one will be to continue to support our teachers. They need resources to make our students better, to close the gap. We have 30% of them still below competency, so they can help close that gap and provide the best for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Zayed?
My top 3 priorities as a school board member would be to keep our schools safe and supportive of both students and staff, remain academically strong, and remain fiscally responsible.
Thank you. Candidate Browner?
Yeah, so we're going to continue the goals in our strategic plan because we worked very hard for those. And if you'd like to see what those goals are in greater detail, they can be viewed at our website. It's worth the read. We are prioritizing capital projects and school improvements, which directly affects the impact in learning spaces for our children, like smaller class sizes. We are closely monitoring the results of our newly adopted curriculums. We piloted a new math curriculum last year, and so we'll be keeping an eye on that. And next month, we are possibly approving a new literacy program, and then we are going to continue to attack chronic absenteeism and support our staff with better retention rates.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
Hi, the first step I'd want to take is getting the grades up. At a lot of the board meetings, the kindergarten teachers, several of them, have voiced concerns about our class sizes that we offer to our kindergarten students. Kindergarten is the building block for the rest of their entire education through 8th grade, high school, and college. And if we're letting our students down in kindergarten, we're letting them down for their whole educational career. I'd also want to increase transparency. These are your tax dollars that you're spending. It's your children, it's your neighbors' children, it's your family. I think all parts of board meetings should be available going many years back on the internet. I'd also suggest that we do complete, thorough studies evaluating all the information before we spend hundreds of millions of your tax dollars.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin?
One of my main concerns is teacher retention and or staff retention employment. I have been recently told that some of our classrooms are not, or I shouldn't say classrooms, some of our resource teachers are not fully staffed, meaning speech pathologists are really hard to find in any school systems. If those aren't there, they're not being served for our students who might need resources outside of the classroom. To make sure we are doing a highly competitive pay scale for teachers to keep these highly qualified teachers in positions. School funding is also one of them, to make sure that the funding is going towards the students that is coming in, so that they do have materials. There's resource materials for kids to take home, so that it's not all laid within parents to research.
Thank you, Candidate Durkin. Our next question goes to Candidate Job. What is your understanding of TIF districts and how they impact schools? And for everyone's information, we had many questions on this, so if your question was submitted and it's similar, we're trying to include them together. Candidate Job.
So a TIF district is it's an area where under a contract the government can freeze the original property tax base, and then they use that increased tax revenue to fund the redevelopment projects. An issue with a TIF district, specifically in a residential area, is that typically they are not beneficial for school districts because they can pull potential funds from the school district that would, directly impact students and student spending away from those districts. So.
Thank you. Candidate Oluwalecki?
Yes, so just like you explained, the thing about for TIF, the village, if it's good for the village, right, it's good for the schools. There's no mayor, there's none of us on this board that doesn't want a good school. So the TIF itself it's like a graduation, and so whatever money, that resource that we can get out of that, as long as it goes back to school or it goes back to the village, as long as, and the only important thing, that as long as it's used correctly, still everybody still benefits from it. That's the only thing. If it's good for the school, if it's good for the village, it's good for the whole community, regardless of how the arrangement comes. Thank you.
Candidate Zayed?
So in terms of TIF districts, in my opinion, it really depends on what type of TIF district you're looking at. If you are looking at a TIF district where you have, for example, an abandoned commercial property where it's not generating it's not generating tax revenue anymore, issuing a TIF is beneficial. However, it can be really taxing on the school system if we're talking about a residential development, because that produces more students into the system and does not produce any revenue to support those students and their needs.
Thank you. Candidate Browner?
So to remember what a TIF is, they're actually considered to be used in blighted or undeveloped communities. School districts are often impacted because TIFs divert a portion of the increased property tax revenue from the school district to the TIF fund, okay? So typically when a village approaches a school district, they'll have negotiations, and then there's add-ons, addendums, right? And so it's like, we'll do this, you do this, we'll add this, we'll do this. And one of those things that a school district might ask for is any student that's generated within the TIF, we want to have that. So if that is the typical practice when that agreement is made, is that the village management or the TIF management would be responsible then for the bookkeeping and payment of the students that are generated in that TIF.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
Hi, a TIF is a wonderful economic tool that can be used to develop properties that wouldn't normally be developed. I think this is a wonderful thing. The current board was just offered $5 million from an Orland Park TIF, which they declined. If I was elected to the board and a member, I would have voted yes to accept that $5 million that our students need.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin.
I'm going to be fully transparent. My language and understanding on TIFs is very minimal. I would do the research to know more about it. I can't tell you if it's beneficial or if it's not beneficial. Hearing from teacher perspectives, I have heard that it is unbeneficial, but I would have to do more research on it to make an informed decision.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson.
Hi, my current understanding, I'm always welcome to a conversation and becoming more educated on it. My current understanding is what was expressed by a great deal of the members of this candidacy right now, is that a residential TIF would bring in more bodies to the community, whereas a commercial TIF necessarily would not, stressing public services on all levels without bringing in additional income for those buildings. And from that stance, from my current understanding, I would be against TIFs. As long as transparency was full and there weren't too many hoops to jump through, we could have conversations. But from the current level of broadcasting that I'm aware of on any TIF district in Orland Park, would not be successful.
Thank you. Now we will have the next question. It goes to candidate Oluwaleke. What role do you think the school board plays when it comes to curriculum decisions and changes?
Oh, absolutely. The school board plays a big role. So one role that the school board plays, you have to, first of all, work with the superintendent. You have to work along with the school principal. And you have to be the fiscal financial responsibility of the village falls on you when it comes to spending. So the appropriation of the dollar, because you pretty much in charge of you want signing off taxpayer dollars. So you want to be fiscally responsible. And the money goes into the school for the curriculum. At the last board meeting, I think one of the principals said there's a new software tool that needs to be bought. It also helps everybody down the line. So the finance that governs that, the board is in charge of that.
Thank you. Candidate Zayed.
So the bulk of curriculum development is, of course, developed by staff, district office, teachers. It's a collaborative effort. But finally, voting on the implementation of it is, that's where the board comes in. And their role is to represent the wants and needs of the community, is, whether or not they accept something is whether or not it's going to support our students and whether or not it supports the needs and wants of the community that they represent.
Thank you. Candidate Browner.
Yeah, so when it comes to a school board member role in curriculum, we have to provide checks and balances, right? So what that happens is we pilot a new curriculum, and the way that we do that is we usually pick 2 or 3, and our teachers then will give us feedback after a good year of piloting this so that we can make informed decisions. We see how the kids are adapting, see if scores went up. You have to keep a close eye on it. Another thing that you're responsible for when you're a board member is you learn how to interpret things like the Illinois report card, because there's so many variables that it could look like one number, but you really have to do your due diligence to understand what it's actually saying.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski.
We hire some amazing staff at District 135. A lot of these teachers have half the alphabet behind their name. They're experts in their field. That's why we hired them. I think the teachers have a significant part in partnering with the board members to choose appropriate curriculum for the students. And again, like Nicole said, periodically evaluate that. Is it working? If it's not working, we're not seeing results, regroup and pick another curriculum. But the teachers, the experts that we've hired, should have a significant role in helping the board choose the curriculum.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin.
I don't disagree with anything that's said. I believe that our teachers are our best resource for understanding what is best for their kids. They are the ones who are with our kids every single day. They know what they need to do. or they know what their students need to learn, and they're probably the best at deciding how and when to teach something, not that something can be done inappropriately or wrong. I don't disagree that a board should be there to make sure that grades are in standing and pilots should be happening, and making sure that there is a length of time for a pilot to get enough information to see if it is working or not. But again, it should come down to teachers really collaborating together to figure out what works.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson?
Yes, curriculum is teacher-driven, 100%. It's also family and community-driven, based on the needs of the community, the wants of the community, and where the executives of the administrators of the school feel that the goals need to be strengthened and students' skills need to be strengthened. And through the collaboration and transparency that the board would offer to the community and empowering the administrators and the teachers to collaborate and provide feedback during one of these pilot things that we've done is a great tool that we've implemented at this point, well, the district's implemented at this point, and we need to build on and continue to run this out.
Candidate Job?
Thank you. So first of all, I just want to point out that a lot of our curriculum is dictated by our Illinois state law and mandates. So it's not just we decide everything, carte blanche deal. Our process is generally to get implementation and changes, including the pilots, from district office and staff. We have a teaching, learning, and technology board advisory committee that meets, and we discuss a lot, very long meetings about these, the pilots and the feedback. We take that to the board in our committee of the whole discussions. And then we use the assessments and student and family feedback to review. So the board's responsibility really is to take the staff feedback, and process that and implement the curriculum changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Zayed, the question goes to you. What are your plans to retain smaller classroom sizes?
So I support having smaller classroom sizes. It does set our students at a disadvantage and our teachers at a disadvantage when we have larger classroom sizes. So I do intend to support any efforts that are made to keep our classroom sizes small as possible.
Thank you. And then we go to Candidate Browner.
We've attacked this issue. It's part of our strategic plan. It's a part of all of our buildings that we've put rooms on, 5 new rooms here, 3 new rooms there. That was one of the big complaints, or worries rather, when I got on the board 4 years ago, and we represented it, Ms. Job and I, and our administration, and everybody came together and we decided what capital projects were needed, and you're actually looking at some of them right now in this gym. So we have worked towards this goal, and I think that we're on our way to completion.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski.
Hi. Data from the report card. Average class size in our district is 24.4 students. The Illinois state standard, Illinois is not known for doing anything remarkable in my opinion, but the Illinois state standard is 20.8. So I would say we have some work to do. As I said before, the kindergarten teachers, board meeting after board meeting, get up and beg and plead for smaller class sizes for these students. The teachers feel that they're not able to provide the instruction and education to the students in kindergarten, and that's where we're building the foundations for the rest of their educational career.
Candidate Durkin.
While I love smaller class sizes, school report cards are incorrect sometimes, because it will say that my school district has 16 students per classroom, and we currently have 29. So please don't believe everything you see. If you have smaller classes, which are special education geared, they only have a max of somewhere between 10 to 13 kids, which brings that cap size down. So please don't focus what is said in any school report card. Please talk to your district. I am not aware of there being a problem with class sizes. However, if there would be, I know that they're doing a lot of renovations into the most of the school systems to create it. I mean, my kids' class sizes are wonderful. I have not heard a teacher complain to me, and they get the resources that they need. But if there was a complaint, I would be here to listen and to see how I can support textiles.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson?
Yes, I would strongly support the effort to push towards smaller class sizes. Phenomenal educational researcher John Hattie says that that's one of the larger impacts that we can have on the education of a student. However, that comes at a cost, and our numbers aren't incredibly outrageous compared to other regions, other schools in the region, and we provide a lot of MTSS structure and pullouts, which also come at a cost, and if we didn't offer those to just shrink class sizes artificially, it might be a problem. However, I would strongly support efforts to reduce class size, but we're talking like 2 students at a class.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
I ran on this in my last campaign when I was first elected for the school board, and I would like to agree with Ms. Browner that we actually did. We put on 5 new additions to buildings to specifically address class size concerns. So I think that we've shown that we are vested in this, and I do believe in smaller class sizes, absolutely, and I think that that shows. The Illinois report card does show that our class size is average of 24 students, but I would also like to point out that that is the lowest our district has had in 9 years, with the exception of 1 year. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Owaleki?
Yes, I do support small class sizes. I went to pharmacy school. My class were very small. It's absolutely very beneficial. So it helps the teachers to be more engaging. It also helps the teachers to have interventions, quicker interventions, also to address the learning gaps, because you could interact with the students. It creates a better classroom culture. I have that right now at UIC, College of Pharmacy. And also, just to make sure our teachers are not overworked. You know, these are our staffs. Make sure they're not too overworked. And also, it improves learning for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question goes to Candidate Browner. Do you have plans to incorporate after-school programs that are school-funded? Surrounding school districts have free clubs like garden art, intramurals, etc. Is there an additional cost? And do you have any plans or ideas for those?
That's a loaded question for this amount of time. Well, let me just be really quick with it. We have 180 family events every year, and we have 70 K through 8 clubs right now currently, and our teachers are involved. We have created so many opportunities because that was one of the issues that people brought up when we started, and this is part of our strategic plan. We also made impact by joining the Village Parade, and we got 2 buses, and we become part of building a relationship with not just the students and their families, but our community as well. We have really hit the mark with that one. I'm proud of that.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
I didn't hear the question in entirety.
Sure. Do you have plans to incorporate after-school programs that are school-funded? So free clubs like garden art, intramurals.
I think District 135 has amazing extracurricular activities, from sports to clubs. There's a club for just about any interest a child would have, and I would say the district is doing excellent and would change nothing.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin?
I also agree. I think our school district is doing a great job of putting on things for kids after school at different times each quarter or semester at least. I would love to see more grants going out to give more opportunities to host more things, but that also means more teachers spending their time after school when they also have time to go home to their families. So it is also a big commitment, I think, for what we're offering. It's working pretty well.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson?
I'm all for after-school programming. It's one of the things that help connect some of the students that tend to disengage from the schooling system, especially when we're dealing with high absenteeism nationwide, especially in our state. We have a lot of goals towards engagement of students, and a lot of times these after-school programs is what gets students to school. On that, I would just like to make sure that we are servicing a diverse group of students and not just focusing on the same 20 kids going to the same different clubs throughout the school year, making sure that we're hitting all students, all interests, and we're equitably funding all these interests.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
I'm going to echo what Ms. Browner said. Actually, District 135 has an amazing amount of clubs and activities for our students. Music clubs, family engagement nights. We even have lunch clubs so that the children who cannot, for whatever reason, stay after school can do something during their lunch hour at the lower levels. I was at the Jeerling Night at the museum last night, which was an amazing science, STEM kind of family engagement activity. It was great. My older son was on the district's, Jeerling's very first soccer team. So we are constantly adding, and I believe we are about to begin our first district-wide wrestling club. So they are very important to overall the student experience, but we are actively adding and always doing that.
Candidate Oluwaleki.
So I will echo what the candidates have said. So yes, we have great program here in D135. And in addition to all the after programs that we have, like the STARS program, I've enrolled my daughters in the STARS program, and they never want to leave every time I try to pick them up. So it's a great program into the district, but if it's funded, it will be a lovely help to taxpayers and even to me, to the parents, because that money is not coming out from our pocket. So it was beneficial to the students, it's beneficial to the parents, beneficial to the community, in addition to all the other programs that we have.
Thank you. Candidate Syed.
So as a parent of 4 kids, I can say we have a lot of programs in Orland 135, and I know because I pick my kids up from all of them. And I would say we're doing a great job with that. However, if there's something that kids have a real passion for and there's a way that we can make it happen, I've found that sometimes the things that they like the most are the super low budget stuff. So if there's a way that we can make it happen, I'm always open to suggestion.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski. I guess you get the next question. Would you be open to establishing a committee that focuses on special education?
Definitely, and I think that's a priority for our school district. At a recent board meeting, the whole department of speech therapists who deal with special ed children got up and discuss the problems we have within the district. There's a shortage of speech therapists. We have speech therapy assistants performing as the licensed staff. That's a concern. That'd be like you going to the doctor, you need surgery, and your nurse performs your surgery. It's not acceptable. So I think this definitely needs to be explored. Also at the March 10 meeting, the hearing interventionist brought up the fact that her job may be cut to part-time. She's currently full-time. Her job may be cut to part-time. That's concerning. She deals with hearing-impaired children.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin.
Can I make sure you said committees for special?
The question was about committees.
Like having committees for special education?
I stuck it underneath.
I apologize.
The microphone. Would you be open to establishing a committee that focuses on special education?
Okay, perfect. I'm making sure. I believe a committee for special education would be important to a community to see what needs are needed. It would help make informed decisions not only at the admin level, but it would also inform the board of where money is going. And if unfortunately, we can't do anything about shortages nationwide of a position. All we could do is our best to try to get something in there so kids are receiving services at a high quality. So yes, I would support.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson.
The question's pretty nebulous, but I'll take a stab. Yes, I would be in support as long as it would be implemented with fidelity and with goals in sight. I think we have had a lot of concerns brought to the school board on if our teams are able to meet goals, and that's something that could be discussed at one of these committees. If we are paying a regionally competitive rate, that's something that could be discussed at these committees. And yes, I'm completely in favor of that, but I don't want a committee just to have a committee and rubber stamp it. I would want to make sure that it's not just a bureaucratic push through, but actually something that has goals and would be resonated with the board and the community.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
I don't think that the idea of a special education committee is a bad idea. I just want to let everyone know that special education is discussed at our Teaching, Learning, and Technology Board Advisory Committee meeting as well. So it's not that it's not included. We usually have one of the administrators speak on a topic that has to do with our special education department. So that is, it's definitely not ignored in the district, but I think if there was a large enough group and interest where we could get some staff and some community members and some parents' feedback, that would always be welcome.
Thank you. Candidate Olawalaki?
Yes, I think it's needed because one of the benefits that the committee will be able to do, one is just to look for the needs for this special group of people. For example, we had talked about the shortage of speech therapists. If there was a committee, they could be able to identify the needs, and we talk about the hearing specialists. And so, in addition to that, looking for the needs, and also they'll be able to recommend a solution to the board. So they won't just be there not be able to do anything. So identify a need, make a solution, and also be able to recommend, things for the board.
Thank you. Candidate Sayed?
I would absolutely support a committee for specifically to address issues with special ed. My now 8-year-old entered 135 on an IEP. He had a severe hearing delay, which caused a severe speech delay. He entered the district as an IEP student, a special ed student, and his experience through 135 was absolutely life-changing. I understand how important this is, and I would absolutely support any efforts to help special ed.
Thank you. Candidate Browner?
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I don't want anybody to think that we don't spend a lot of time and effort with collaboration for our special needs community. They are at the forefront. And we already started plans on this. Our director, Ginny, and then Mrs. Brown, we wanted one of the parts of our strategic plan were to unite families who were going through similar things, right? So we would put them together and kind of gave them an introduction of what to expect. This is how we're going to do this. This is what to expect. These are other people in the community. These are ways to reach out to each other. So we started those connections already. I think we're head in a healthy direction.
Thank you. The next question goes to Kelly Schmeleski. Look at this. It is...
No, me. It's Durkin. Me.
Oh, sorry. Candidate Durkin.
She can go again, though.
But that's okay. Well, we can't, none of us are perfect today. Do you think the district should support accelerated programs for those students who qualify?
God, this is like a wrecking train. I am pro, I am anti, I am a teacher. I like it, I don't like it. I guess it's very dependent on your demographics, grade level, and everything that's going on. I service children who I'm teaching 9th grade math to 4th grade level students. So having accelerated there is beneficial, but I also see where the accelerated programs are not beneficial for students who have the ability to learn and catch up with that acceleration. So I would have to be more open to having conversations with the school and the teachers to see if there is a holdback or a real need for acceleration, or if students within the same program are benefiting all around from having diverse levels of education within a room.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson?
Ditto. No, I'm joking. So it's a complex situation. If your struggling learners learn a lot from accelerated learners, your accelerated learners learn a lot from your struggling learners. We're in a culture now, we're in a state of time now where it's not going to be an individual progressing through. Society takes teamwork now more so than ever, and if we start isolating individuals early on, it's not necessarily individual. Now that being said, I am for accelerated programming in instances where it would be deemed necessary. So if we have a large cluster of students that are performing above grade level, then we should offer it.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
I actually have quite a bit of experience with this, and I'm going to kind of balloon this into enrichment programs as well. Our district has fantastic enrichment opportunities for children, and I support them. I think that it is necessary. If you have children who are not being challenged, you end up with some behavior issues, you end up with students who are disengaging from the classroom, and they are great learners if they're given the right opportunity. And accelerated as well. It means some kiddos are just, have a little bit of an edge or learn faster, and it's okay to push them. So I am very much in support of that.
Thank you. Candidate Oluwalaki?
Yeah, likewise. I was just about to mention enrichment because my daughter, the one in Meadow Ridge, is in the enrichment class. If a student needs to flourish and they have the capacity to do it, I think we should let them flourish. It doesn't mean the other students are left behind. It's just that they have the grades to excel. So if it's well funded, just like the enrichment program that we have, if it's well funded, then I'm all about it. And what does it do too? Like my daughter came home from the enrichment class and was talking to me about stocks and options and bonds. I'm like, where do you learn all this from? So I'm all about anything that will that will accelerate those students. Anything that's honors program enrichment, I'm all for it. And we have similar programs at the college as well.
Thank you. Candidate Zayed?
I feel the same. I do support the accelerated programs. My own son with ADHD was put into accelerated math, and it really helped him a lot. He was getting very bored in the slow-paced math class, and he was taking lots of wandering the hall breaks and things like that because he was done and he was bored. And he really did benefit a lot from being in an accelerated math program.
Thank you. Candidate Browner?
It's just short and sweet. We have a great program that we offer here. And to quote my superintendent, we will do everything possible to meet every child's needs, whether they're on the upper end of the spectrum or the lower end of the spectrum.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
This is a no-brainer, and I fully support accelerated education. We support our students with challenges with their IEP program to support their needs. We want to push our brightest students even further and support their education.
Thank you. Next question goes to Candidate Finlayson. How will you support our libraries and help restore them as the heart of the school?
Was that the libraries? I'm sorry.
How will you support our libraries and help restore them as the heart of the school?
Libraries are center point for literacy. It allows student choice in reading and allows their interests to flourish. My sons love the library every week. I think they've got every Titanic book in 135 at one point. It's pivotal. It allows the heart of learning, which is reading, to flourish, and the choice that the library offers is a needed one.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
I would agree. I love our libraries and our media center specialists at the 135 schools, and as a board, we recently voted to retain an extra librarian. We know that part of our literacy update in the curriculum is going to require extra help from those media specialists, and we want to make sure that they have all the support they need. And they do more than that. Our Gerling media specialist actually is the one who coordinated the amazing event last night, the night at the museum. So absolutely support them and think that they are the heart of the school.
Thank you. Candidate Oluwalaki?
Yes, so I'm always supportive for the library, and the way I'll do that is just to support their goals, to make sure, support their costs, that the library is also well funded, and also to make sure they have the resource that they need. And as a custodian and as a representative of the board, one of the things we can refer people to the library. I've been there many, many times to study, and so it's a great library. It's a great resource to there. So we can refer our neighbors, hey, they have this program at the library. You'll be surprised. You can learn how to do Excel, how to do PowerPoint. So the library is there, and one way to support them is support the cause, support their goal, and refer people to use it.
Thank you. Candidate Zayed?
One thing that I like to do, and this, you don't have to be a board member to do this, but one thing that I like to do to support our libraries is recommending books. Sometimes I've submitted a list of books that I think would be beneficial. And honestly, I think most of the time our school district is very responsive to that. Most of the books that I've recommended ended up in the library, and I'm very, very happy to see that. I think we have a great selection of books, and I think it really keeps the kids engaged. They're always very excited about the books that they've checked out from the library.
Thank you. Candidate Browner?
Our media specialists are really, truly something special. They don't just encourage the reading of books and showing kids different types and helping them around the library, but they also run some of our pretty awesome clubs. And I don't know if anybody here follows me on Facebook, but I just posted recently a gift that our media specialist worked with our Century students. It's like a little tag and has our name etched in it, but that was spearheaded by their media specialist, but at the hands of the students. And then at Gerling, they had one that lit up. And I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing what kids are doing these days in school. I mean, what did we have? The sticker that smelled or whatever, you know? So just to see these amazing things happening is pretty awesome.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
I too am pro-library. I don't want today's children to forget what it's like to open a book. I think there's something special about it, and I love the scent of old books. It'd be very easy for some of our ELA teachers to have things like a library scavenger hunt or have resources from the library to be used for assignments. So I think it's very important that our students to continue to use our library and even encourage the Orland Park Library.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin?
Sentence stickers are still in. I own some, but libraries are amazing. The thing that my kids do every Friday after when school's out is we go to the library. They spend about 5 hours there, so it's 5 hours of them playing at a library. I know we can't do that at schools, but I would send them there. Unlike the Titanic, I have every book on animal wars that comes home with my son. So I think that libraries need to remain around. Now, do we have to evolve what might happen in the library? Is it all going to be about books? No. I think there's a lot of other things that librarians and or the media specialists are going to have to uptake, especially with cellular devices and or computer technology that can be incorporated into.
Thank you. Candidate Job, this one's going to start with you. It's a little specific, but it's a board question. When were the School District 135 residential boundaries last reviewed? Will they be up for revision? Our newer subdivision is included in District 135 with the exception of approximately 10 houses. So the question really is, can those boundaries be revisited?
Actually, I think at district office, they review them more than people think. Anytime that we talk about changes in enrollment at the individual schools, sometimes the boundary conversation comes into play. Ultimately, we've been able to do things like the additions or move sections so that we don't have to change boundaries, only because really the community in general does not like that conversation. And a lot of people move into their neighborhoods specifically so that their students can go to that set school.
Thank you. Candidate Oluwaleke?
Yeah, and I think another thing we need to start considering as a board is redistricting, you know. So, it's another thing there needs to be in conversation. Just being able to redistrict schools now should be something in the conversation. I think this will help down the line because, we have people getting older, and so as new people are coming in, you can place students in the right school, and so we really should need to be thinking about that.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Syed?
Offhand, I don't know how frequently this is reviewed, how frequently redistricting happens or is considered. But personally, I agree with Elizabeth. I would not want to be moved to a different district. I'm happy with where we are, and so I would support any effort to avoid redistricting.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Browner?
So this is a topic of conversation for our administrators quite often. They keep a close eye on different properties and different proposals coming in for a building in Orland Park. It, like Ms. Job said, is a very touchy subject. We have very strong opinions on both sides.
But that's not to say that the future board isn't going to discuss those and take things into consideration. This is something that doesn't just happen, though. This is something where it would be almost like everybody would be involved. There would be a town hall. There would be a lot of people's opinions, a lot of surveying. So if anybody's like nervous, that kind of thing doesn't happen right away. But we would give it a great deal of conversation if the time comes.
Candidate Chmielewski.
As a parent, taxpayer, and candidate, I call for more than just a review of this. This is a serious topic, and I don't know when the last time this was seriously reviewed. Children are resilient. They will survive changing schools. It would be unfortunate. They will survive, I promise. I can say that because I've dated multiple people before I met my husband. I survived. I've had multiple jobs before my current job. Children will survive, promise. We can support them in whatever way we feel necessary, but I think taxpayer dollars are very important, and if we had to rezone our schools, it would not be the end of the world. We'll support our children and help get them through it.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin.
I have really no input to say. I have never been on a board that has talked about it. I know within our school district, it's more of a community issue, more so than a admin issue. So every time our building gets talked about, it gets shot down at the parent level, so we don't, or the community level, so we don't go much further than that. I'm going to assume, like Nicole stated, that it's bigger than just the board saying, hey, we're going to rezone. It's going to have to go to all facets of, community, staff, admin. So it's not just, I think, an easy flip of a switch and we're rezoning.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson.
Can you repeat the question? I just want to make sure I answer it.
Righty. That's always the tricky one. Okay, how would you, no, that was the library one. Eeks.
Yeah, I did a really good job on that one, so.
All right, what happened to question 9? Where'd it go? There it is. It says, basically, our newer subdivision is included within District 135 with the exception of approximately 10 houses. Can the boundary be revisited? Willing to, can you elaborate?
So I believe they're addressing districting. So if it's I don't know the district that would be in discrepancy with. So if 135 was to acquire another district, it would come to a cost. So we would have to discuss that with a neighboring district. If it's talking about school boundaries, that's a conversation that I believe is occurring quite frequently to maintain a balanced student population within the school, within each individual school. I'm all for continual reviewing of that, and my goal would be to make sure that we're not gerrymandering, to making sure that we're selecting certain communities, but rather we are going at what would be best for student transportation.
Okay, thank you. And now we have a short question. This goes to candidate Olawalaki.
Yes.
What are your views on cell phones in schools?
It's a great question. So cell phone in school, I know the governor came out and said it's going to ban cell phone in school. My position is very simple. We could keep cell phone out of the classroom. I'm a faculty, I'm an educator, and too much distractions. So you could keep the cell phone. It's actually very simple. Keep the cell phone out of the classroom. But the students still have access to it during lunches, during breaks, during their breaks. And so you could still have access to it for emergency, family emergency. So, everybody, there's watch phone that they can use now, but you could keep the cell phone out of the classrooms so that there's no disturbance. But at least have access to it during break time.
Thank you. Candidate Sayed.
I think less is more with cell phones, right? In general, my kids don't have cell phones. They do have Apple Watches so that they can contact me. I do think that it's important for kids to be able to contact their parents in an emergency. But as far as having them out in class or having them on where they're bringing during class and disturbing students nearby, I think that is the real issue. And I wouldn't want my kids scrolling during class. I wouldn't want them having their phone ringing or anything like that. So I like the idea of having their phone available to them or having some way of getting in touch with their family, but keeping their devices off during class.
Thank you. Candidate Browner?
The policy here in District 135 is off and away. So if you want to know what my thoughts are, I agree with that. My son was in high school and they had a hard lockdown, and I can't tell you how great it was for him to text me from his classroom. I lost years off my life that day. So I do think that in the world that we live in, children should have a phone. I see 7-year-olds walking around with it, as long as it's off and away and only used as an emergency.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
I think cell phones should be allowed in the school, away, preferably in the locker, on silence. Students aren't making calls from the classroom, or they shouldn't be, and they have iPads to check any resources online that they may need to do for classroom assignments.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin?
It's a hard one because I do teach at a high school, so it's a very different demographic. Elementary school, I would say no cell phones within a classroom. In a backpack or locked up would be okay. However, easy access to a cell phone during a lesson, I'm not for. Kids do have, we are one-to-one, so students here have iPads, so there is no use for a cell phone. Now, I understand what Nicole's saying about how she had the issue with her own. However, I am still more anti-cell phone than I would ever be for a cell phone. So even if that means no cell phone within the school, I would be okay setting that policy. It'd be what is happening within the district and how distractive the cell phone is causing.
Thank you. Candidate Finlayson?
So most governors at every state has called for school districts to come up with some sort of plan for cell phones. This is a growing issue with students not necessarily calling people, but distractibility of our young learners. I'm all for a off and away because a lot of students are going places after school and they need that contact piece. And you don't want to have to necessarily overrun the central office with students that need to use a common phone. Strongly for off and away, but I'm also fine with locked up as well during the day in like a yonder pouch or whatever, because during an emergency situation, it's been shown that cell phone use by members of the school can overrun emergency services in the cell towers, rendering them useless.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
So there's plenty of research out there already proving that cell phones in the classroom are a distraction and really do delay student growth and progress. Like Ms. Browner said, District 135 already has a cell phone guideline in our student parent handbook, and it is off and away. And that is reinforced by administration multiple times throughout the school year. And the guidelines in their state, cell phones must be off and away during the regular school day with limited exceptions, such as given staff permission, specified uses in an IEP, or in the case of an emergency that threatens safety. And I agree with all of that.
Thank you very much. This will be our last question. It's going to Candidate Syed, and it's a little long. Being on the Board of Education is a big responsibility and sometimes humbling. As you work with administration and learn more about certain policies and procedures, you may change your perspective on some things. What is one value you believe you will stand firm upon?
So one value that I believe I'll stand firm upon is the need for stakeholder feedback. We need to know how things look in the classroom, what's working for teachers, what isn't, how things are working for students, for families. What does this particular resource look like at homework time at home? What does it look like in the classroom? So I think the importance of stakeholder feedback is the most important to me. I think that's a value that I will maintain regardless of how
Thank you.
my
Candidate
opinions
Browner?
change.
This one's really easy and straightforward. I will always remain student-focused.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
Integrity. Integrity.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin?
Transparency, communication, open, make sure that it's there on all ends.
Candidate Finlayson?
Making sure, however, my current understanding of the situation is being developed, that I am making a decision on the best interest of the student only.
Thank you. Candidate Job?
As some of them have already said, just always retaining that focus on student success.
Thank you. Candidate Olawaleke?
My own is pretty simple. It's better outcome for our students, beyond, within the class and outside of class.
Thank you, candidates. It is now time for the closing statements. You will have 90 seconds each for your closing statement, and we will begin with Candidate Browner.
Oh, wonderful. I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to serve you all over the past 4 years. It truly has been an honor to represent this community, our students and staff. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and the Parents for Education for providing this platform tonight. As I seek your support for another term, I do so with the knowledge that we have made incredible strides together, but there is so much more to do. Throughout my time on the board, I've worked to ensure our district continues to meet the needs of every student, providing them with the resources, support, and academic rigor they need to thrive. I've made it my priority to advocate for transparent communication, high academic standards, and an inclusive learning environment where all students have the opportunity to excel and prepare for their transition to the expectations of high school. It has been a privilege to work alongside the dedicated staff of District 135. I truly believe they are the backbone of our district. I am honored to have earned the endorsement of the Orland Council of Educators, and I want to thank them for their trust and support. I would also like to take a moment to recognize the value of a second term. The first term for any board is often a period of intense professional development where we learn the intricacies of our roles and responsibilities, and the knowledge gained and the relationships formed during this time are invaluable assets that not only benefit the individual board member but the entire district. I can proudly say that over the course of the first term, I dedicated myself to continuous growth and improvement. I've worked diligently to engage in professional development opportunities, enhancing my understanding of the role and how best to serve the community. I believe that the growth isn't just about gaining new skills, it's about using them to make a tangible impact, and I hope that you will vote for Browner. And Election Day is my birthday.
Thank you. Candidate Chmielewski?
This part comes from my heart. So as a candidate, I know that by asking for your vote, I'm also asking for your trust, and that means the world to me. I'm a person of integrity and honesty. As a long-term care nurse, I've taken care of the sick, the elderly, and the patients and families trusted me with their lives. My colleagues can trust me that I'll do the job that I'm hired to do. And as voters, you can trust me and know that I will work very, very hard at this role. I will educate myself. I don't just vote to vote. I vote and educate myself, and I do the research. Every vote that I make, yes or no, will be with the consideration of the student's education, also considering the parents, the taxpayers. These are big decisions that I'll be making, and I don't take them lightly. I'm a person that you can trust. Please vote for Kelly.
Thank you. Candidate Durkin?
Next time I'm going to have Nicole write my 90 seconds because
I'm
that
really
was
good at this.
fantastic, and she speed read that because it would have taken me 5 minutes to read. I'm hoping my 19 years experience within a public school system shows that I am invested in both sides. I know what it's like to be a teacher. I know what it's like to be a parent. I know how it's like to work with admin. I know how it's like to talk to parents. It's a crazy world we're living out there. So vote for Jen Durkin. I got nothing else.
Thank you.
Nicole,
Candidate
write it.
Finlayson?
Hi, thank you again for coming out. Thank you again, colleagues here, for coming out as well and expressing your voices and your ideas. I believe that I come from a diverse background and are uniquely fitted for this position, this candidacy. I've had 13 years in education. During that time, I've negotiated 2 contracts for teachers' labor as a union president. I know the inner workings of that world as well. I understand that we are dealing with just one jar of marbles, and that needs to go a long way, and we need to be fiduciaries of those marbles and making sure that they are spent wisely and with students' goals at the heart of all of our spending. I want to make sure that, again, to reiterate my goals, is that we have SMART goals that are based on the school report card, that we are accountable for the success of all students, and that we are supporting our teachers who are spending all the time with our students and know their needs the most. And when our educators are vocal with the needs, something that they need, that we need to make sure that that resonates. When our community says that there is a need, we need to make sure that that resonates. And as a school board, we are those individuals that need to make sure that these messages are resonating with us.
Thank you. Candidate Job.
My experience on the school board for the last 4 years and as vice president for the last 2 years gives me a definitive advantage over the other candidates. I have cultivated relationships with D135 board members, administration, and staff, along with D135 families and community members. I am familiar with our district curriculum, budgets, grants and funding, school building projects, safety initiatives, student programming, academic assessment, achievement and grading, state educational mandates and reporting, technology use and integration, attendance and class sizes, and staff professional development. I am proud to be a part of District 135 in this capacity, and I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that the earlier mention of our 8th grade algebra tests were incorrect on the Illinois State Report Card. The Illinois State Report Card actually changed their coding, so that number is the percentage of 8th graders in integrated math only that are passing that high school level test. Our 8th grade math tests or math scores are actually very good. I support continuing focus on student growth across all academic levels, as well as hiring and retaining the best teachers and staff to ensure student success through an exceptional educational experience. I believe we should foster a positive relationship with the community through transparency and outreach. I also reinforce the promise to responsibly manage taxpayer money through a student-focused budget. Most importantly, I have and will continue to honor my elected duty to be the voice of our community, asking difficult questions and pushing for accountability and excellence. Thank you and vote Job.
Thank you. Candidate Oluwaleke.
Thank you. I have 90 seconds, so I have to rush. First of all, I just want to thank the organizer of the event. Thank you very much. And also thank you to the rest of the candidates. I appreciate everyone here. So why am I running? I'm running because I want to serve and I want to give back. I already gave you my background story when I started. I also want to be inspiration to my 3 daughters. I'm an educator. I want to make a difference. This is what I do day in, day out. I've stressed out. I work in the college, University of Illinois College of Pharmacy, and this is what I do day in, day out. And when I mean make a difference, I want to bring what I do, the excellence of what I do every day, I want to bring it to my community. Orland Park is home, and I love it. Making a difference means improving our test scores, always continue supporting our teachers to enhance quality and mental health for our students, to always maintain physical and financial responsibility. And overall, I've said it over and over again, is to have better outcomes for our students, even beyond elementary school, college, high school, college, and choosing life career. So I'll end by this. I put a quote here. It says, remember my name, V for Vince. So remember V for vote. So you put that together, please. Vote for Vince. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Syed.
I hope that you will vote for me. I believe that I bring unique perspectives to the table. I do have my children range in age from 3 to 13, so we are committed to the district. We're in the district, and we will be for a very long time. I have experience with IEPs and 504s as a parent, I've had experience with having students struggle, and I know what it's like. So I am committed to being approachable, and I am committed to being accessible to all stakeholders. And I'm also part of a growing MENA community within Orland Park, and I think bringing more voices to the table, bringing unique voices to the table, helps to create strength and cohesion within our community. And I think that's a very important at this point in Orland Park. I also want to just close off by saying that only 2% of Americans end up running for office at some point during their lifetime. So everybody here who's willing to go out and willing to put themselves out there and serve our community should be commended. So please, no matter what the outcome is of the election, please remember all of these faces. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That ends our candidate forum tonight. Public service is the bedrock of our democracy. Thank you to all of our candidates for stepping up and choosing to run for public office. We appreciate everyone's participation tonight. Whether you are a candidate, a voter, or a prospective voter, your participation tonight is essential to preserving our freedom in our country. Quoting Jane Addams, "The cure for democracy is more democracy." Local elections are important. Election day is April 1st. Early voting starts on Monday, March 17th at the Orland Township. Check their website for the hours as they do vary. Please remind your family, neighbors, and friends to vote. We wish each of you a good evening, and because our candidates were so economical with some of their answers, we have a few extra minutes giving the candidates and those who attended an opportunity to meet each other and say hello. Now please join me again in showing your appreciation for our candidates.